Hi, I'm Nancy McCocken, and welcome to Living Karma Yoga. Catherine Austin Woolley, who founded this program and hosted it for a few seasons, has recently moved to California with her husband. And as her new partner, I've taken over many of her responsibilities, and one of which is hosting this program, which is a celebration of all that the yoga world has to offer, from asana, which is posture, to mudra and mantra meditation, pranayama, which are breathing practices, and cooking, travel, and so very much more to help you take your yoga off the mat. May these tools help you live a life of joy, fulfillment, and abundance that you truly deserve. My guest today is a longtime friend, and I might cry when I say that, Lynn Meadow. She's one of the very first persons I met when I moved here, just before I moved here in 2001. She's a yoga teacher, has been a yoga teacher, registered yoga teacher with more than 500 hours of training and over 30 years of practice and nearly 20 years of yoga teaching experience. She's also the founder of the Yoga by Design Foundation, which helps to pay yoga teachers to teach yoga to those people who can't afford yoga, because her belief is that everybody deserves yoga. Lynn, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Good. So I'm wondering if you could tell our audience how you came up with the idea of the foundation. You know, what prompted you to do that? What's your background, a little bit about your background before you became a yoga teacher, and that might help explain why you're so passionate about the foundation.
Well, for 25 years before I started teaching yoga, I worked in the nonprofit world, anywhere from doing direct service to management. And then I became a yoga teacher, and I was in California at the International Association of Yoga Therapists conference, and I was sitting and listening to speakers and all the different types of ways that yoga could benefit, especially special populations or needy populations, and I said, I can do that.
Wow, cool.
I can put my worlds together. Yoga has been such a gift to me in my life that I became a teacher because I wanted to share it with others. But I also had noticed that for the most part, yoga is mostly for people who can afford to take classes.
Right.
So I wanted to be able to offer it to those who could really need it. Not that we don't all need peace in our lives, but for those people who could really use it but would not have access to it. So that idea was born in, I believe, around 2007, and in 2011 I decided to just jump right in. I often say if I had known what I was getting myself into, I may not have done it. So I'm glad that I did not know. I just walked into an attorney's office and I said, will you help me create a 501c3 nonprofit organization?
I didn't know that story about being out at the IAYT conference.
Yes.
Okay, that's really beautiful. It is. Interesting that it took a few years for it to take hold, huh? So what I'd like to know is, who do you help?
What I would like to do is share a beautiful video which was made a few years ago of 3 populations that we do serve.
Okay, good. Thank you.
The practice of yoga truly begins when one steps off the mat and into life. Motivated to share this healing practice of yoga with those less fortunate, I formed the Yoga by Design Foundation in 2011.
Yoga by Design Foundation has been so important to our program and has absolutely kept it running, and without it we wouldn't have been able to do what we've done, and it's making such big differences for kids, you know, both in decreasing weight but also in increasing self-esteem, which is really one of our main goals here at this center.
My name is Gabby. I like yoga, and my favorite yoga pose is tree pose.
As the students are in class, parents and caregivers attend a lecture series with a nutritionist Topics include menu planning, healthy lifestyle, and whole family nutrition.
A health class like this is really great because it gets the parents together and we're able to learn how to make healthy choices for our children and for our families.
As a volunteer, I just have been trying to take the experiences of my life and be able to help these kids and try to pass a little bit of that to them. And I feel like the yoga has been beneficial to all of us.
The Yoga by Design Foundation has many supporting partners. CompuWare offers their beautiful space for Freedom House classes.
When I'm breathing, I realize that I'm present. And when someone is present, he becomes himself. Sometimes you can be here, but your mind is somewhere.
People who come to Freedom House, the political refugees and victims of torture, so sadly have so much trauma and pain. Their bodies have been tortured in ways that we just can't even imagine. What we've learned through the residents participating in yoga is we're seeing them come back in a very changed way. So immediately after the sessions, more smiling. Little by little, we're watching posture change. We'll see the same things, but more confidence, more ability to look people in the eye, more ability to talk about what they're doing at Freedom House, to actually say, I am a victim of torture and these are the horrible things that have happened to me. Those first steps towards citizenship, I think they're better off, they're better able to function, their jobs, and bringing their families back, and it just makes America a better place.
The Yoga by Design Foundation was asked by the Detroit Lions to bring yoga into the Detroit Lions Academy. This showcases their incredible commitment to health and wellness in the community.
I think that these kids were very gifted by having the Yoga by Design Foundation offer this skill to them because they can share it. They can share with other people. They can share with other kids their own age. And so that way they develop other coping skills, other physical fitness skills.
It feels good to be in there with all girls, and my teacher, she's really nice. She's cool. She asks us what we like to do, and is the poses that we do, is they good for us.
I want to thank Yoga by Design Foundation for allowing us to have these classes because it's really enjoyable for me, I know, and for many other staff members to see them engaging in something and to be happy about participating in something.
Offering a guided yoga practice to those in need is an investment in the future and supports the mission of the Yoga by Design Foundation to heal, repair, and transform.
That was a really awesome video. It shows very clearly some of the populations that you serve. And I'd like to jump to a further question. I'm going to get back to what are some of your major hurdles and how do you acquire funding. But I'd like to know how you decide, first, how you decide the populations that you serve. How do you make that determination?
It's more or less when people come to us, an organization, a school, a hospital comes to us, or a yoga instructor who has a particular interest.
Okay.
And then we try to marry those two together and then provide the service. And as long as the population is involved in a school or another nonprofit or hospital.
Okay, so it's basically somebody who hears about you who wants the services, or a teacher who wants to serve a population and comes to you. And is there a grant process, an application process?
Yes, we have a grant application that the organization and teacher fill out together, and then it comes in. We approve it for a certain amount of time, and then it goes back to that organization and the teacher, and they implement the program and send us the proof that they've done it.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. And so they can find that online?
Correct. On our website, www.yogabydesignfoundation.org.
Okay, perfect. yogabydesignfoundation.org. And then back to some of the major hurdles that you've encountered along the way. Can you talk about those?
Well, let me start with now and maybe work back, because it's Wonderful that you've asked this question is that this past weekend we just had a strategic planning meeting with our board of directors. We've been in business now, we're going into our 6th year, and a lot of the impetus and work done within the foundation is by me, except for the teachers that we pay, and it's come to the point where I have to do my job and make a living, so I'm not able to put as much time into the foundation. So we had a strategic planning meeting, and we are realizing that our organizational structure needs help. And so that's what we're focusing on right now, is the organizational structure of the board, and then after that is set, then we'll go into the actual organization.
Okay. How many board members do you have?
10.
10. Okay, and are these people who are passionate about what you're doing for the most part?
Well, they're all people who are yogis or practice yoga, and many of them are people I just know, and I said, please come and be on the board.
And then how do you go about fundraising?
A lot of fundraising is word of mouth, but our major fundraiser every year is a yogathon, always the second weekend in September. Karma Yoga in Bloomfield Township has generously donated their venue, their beautiful studio, every year for an entire day, which I think is amazing for any business to give an entire day's proceeds to another organization. And so we bring in teachers, they volunteer their time, people come and take the class. We have a raffle. It's a really fun day, and that's our major fundraiser. We've also received some grants, and we have some wonderful angels who give us money every month, and some people who give us money to support individual programs.
Okay, that's really beautiful. And there's a story. You're a small foundation, right?
That's correct.
And I remember you telling a story a couple years ago about, I guess people find foundations on the internet, and they're looking for funding. And didn't you receive a grant application for funding from somebody who had much more funds than you did?
Yes. Yes, it was very ironic that kind of a very, very large nonprofit thought that they could then ask us for a little more money, and I wrote the person back and I said, I think this should be going the other way around. So
yeah,
it
really
is interesting. I've heard from people from across the world looking for money.
Wow.
And we try to keep our money pretty much in Michigan at this point.
Okay, that was my next question, is the service area pretty much Metro Detroit?
Well, we don't have any absolute geographical boundaries, but right now it's the Tri-County area and beyond.
Okay.
So, and it's decided on a case-by-case basis.
And what's the furthest away? Do you know offhand the furthest population that you serve away from this county area?
Those that we serve up to this point have been the Tri-County area.
Okay.
Although we have received support from beyond.
Okay. And can you tell me a story or two about how this program has actually impacted individuals?
I would love to.
Good.
One of our key programs is working with veterans with PTSD. So we brought in 2 trainers from Connecticut and who trained about 20 teachers. It was a 100-hour training, people who are already certified yoga teachers, to work with veterans with PTSD. And we have programs running 3 different places through the VA.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And one of the students, came to the teacher one day.
I might cry because I've heard this story before, but go ahead.
It is. It's a tearjerker. He came to the teacher and he said, I was in a car accident the other day. I was rear-ended. And I was so angry. And with people with PTSD, loud noises or fast movements really it's very hard. So he was really shook up. And he said, I really wanted to get out of my car and kill this person who rear-ended me, and I was just about to open the door and get out of the car, and he said to the teacher, "I heard your voice in my head." I called the police, I sat in my car, and I did my yoga breathing until they came.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. So these are life-changing practices. I mean, they've been life-changing for you and me, but it's, I think, even more remarkable to see the changes in somebody who is conditioned to behave in such a violent way.
That's correct.
You know.
I attended last July the Points of Light conference in Detroit. The Points of Light Foundation gives an award every day in the country, 365 every year.
Wow.
And I received one last year, so I was invited to attend the conference. It was a beautiful honor, and it was very exciting. You know, 1,000 people there from all over the world. And what I realized was, first of all, there's so many good people out there and so many good organizations doing good. And I think what yoga and meditation, I know what yoga and meditation can offer people is, it's very much the proverb, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. So we can have nonprofits that provide housing and food and school and health care. But to have an organization that provides skill sets to enable people to utilize the other gifts that they are given. Because yoga helps you do that. It helps you to release barriers and be objective and utilize what you have as opposed to spending negative energy on what you don't have.
Oh, that's really lovely. You know, that's the first time I actually have thought about it that way, because there are many different nonprofit organizations, as you said, to feed people, to give them homes, shelter, and things like that. But when we change our attitudes, and I'm not meaning to imply that hunger and homelessness are okay to experience.
Absolutely.
But whatever we experience, if we're able to change our attitude and look at it with a little more equanimity and experience things with a little more equanimity, it helps smooth things out, and it creates opportunities, or it creates the space for us to see the opportunities that come to help us in our situations. So, yeah, that's the first time I've heard that phrase, so thank you. After all this time that I've known you and known what you're doing, this is really awesome.
Thank you.
So where do you go from here?
Well, we work and emphasize our restructuring and reorganization, and we keep providing the programs that we do. You saw 3 of them in the video. We also provide yoga and meditation programs for children with obesity and other healthcare needs, breast cancer survivors, homeless shelters, kids in alternative schools, and we'd like to expand. We also have a program right now going on in a prison population.
Okay, and how is that working?
It's going very, very well, and we hope to continue and expand that with great results to, again, help people in their recovery and re-entry into society.
That's beautiful. And how can people help?
Well, they can go to our website. Funny you should ask. Yeah, but they can go to the website, and there's a way to give funding. They can contact and send us information or send inquiries. If there's many different ways, you just have to be in touch.
Right. Okay. So, and you have a huge volunteer staff, don't you? Or at least a small volunteer staff?
A small volunteer staff.
So if somebody wanted to get involved, say, as a volunteer, is that also a possibility?
That would be wonderful. We are a volunteer-run organization.
Okay.
So all of our staff are volunteers. So we could really use help with accounting, PR and advertising, and bookkeeping, everything that goes into managing an organization behind the scenes.
And sort of correspondence too, because I know you're inundated with email and things like
Correct.
that. Yeah.
Correct.
So.
Photography. Now, somebody who would be willing to go out and photograph some of the programs.
Oh, that would be beautiful to put up on the website.
Right.
Or maybe even to make in movies, to make movies the way the one that's on your website is already done, because that's beautiful. And the movie, or the stills at least, of the Yogathon were really beautiful too. It's fun to see in the studio the teachers and all the students coming out to help support that. It's a really beautiful
we have a
thing.
wonderful supportive community at Karma.
Right. Good, good. Well, I think that's all the questions that I have today, unless you can think of something else that you would like to add in.
No, I'm just grateful and honored to be here, Nancy,
well, I'm really
and to know
too.
you for so many years.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and me to you, because I know you've got a really busy schedule, so I'm thankful for your being here. So thank you all for joining us today. For more information on the Yoga on Lynn's Foundation, go to www.yogabydesignfoundation.org. For our schedule at Karma Yoga, you would go to www.karma-yoga.net, and we very much look forward to seeing you in class. And namaste. Thank you.
May the long time sun